for the Emma live show, the Austentatious Book Club live show for Emma. Both Hannah and I have 2 copies to give to Maureen and Natasha, who don't have it.
I have a phone.
I'm good.
Yeah. So let's go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Zoe from Read by Zoe, which I'm pretty sure you know because this is on my channel. So hello. And
hi, I'm Natasha from Tashapolis. Is that all we're saying? Is our names?
You just like talk about your life. Give a fun fact. Fun fact.
Oh, fun fact. I wish I was married to Mr. Darcy.
Okay. I'm Maureen from Maureen Kiwi, and my fun fact is that I'm going to New York next week. Yay!
And Natasha, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm going next week too.
Oh, just kidding. You're so fancy. Hannah?
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Hannah from A Clockwork Reader, and a fun fact about me is that it's not even really about me, but I have a cat, and her name is Bo, and she's really fluffy and really cute, and you might hear her throughout this video because she gets lonely when I don't pay attention to her. So.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Joce. My channel is Swivels Reads. A fun fact about me, I guess I have a guinea pig and she weighs like 6 pounds and she's like this big and she's so cute. I love her.
You guinea pig. Oh my goodness.
So she's like a small cat.
All of the links for all of the channels will be down below, so definitely go check everybody out because I love them all, obviously. And now let's start talking about Emma. Comment in the little comment section, the chat section, and ask us some questions about the book. Oh, and also before I start, next month, which is this month, so December's book of the month is Mansfield Park, and everybody who you see here will be in the next live show. So I'm excited about that. So, what did everybody think about Emma?
Oh, I'll go since I'll go in order. I really liked Emma. I liked it much better than Persuasion, but I think it falls under Pride and Prejudice for me. I didn't hate the main character. Like everyone said that they're like, you're not gonna like her. I've known the story. I think the Gwyneth Paltrow movie was the first Jane Austen movie that I was that I watched like when I was younger. I just remember it being in my uncle's cabin. I'm like, I want to watch that. I was like 5 or something. So, and then also Clueless. So I loved reading the book and then like picking out the similarities between the modern movie and the book by Jane Austen. So that was a lot of fun. I loved how like they use some of the same names like Elton. I kept saying Elton's name like the way Brittany Murphy says, Elton. But yeah, I really enjoyed the story this time around. It was a nice big story too, so it was fun.
Maureen?
Oh, I really like Emma. I don't know where it falls on my spectrum. It gets up really high because of Mr. Knightley, because he is my favorite Jane Austen like guy figure of all of them. So like that pushes it up pretty high. And I mean, I generally I disagree with Emma, but I don't dislike her. Because, I mean, if she was unlikable, like really unlikable, you wouldn't ever want to read the book and it wouldn't be popular at all. But I just really like, I haven't seen Clueless, I know, but I know.
Maureen!
What?
Oh my gosh.
We had a live show, like a movie night for us, but you guys.
I was moving. Excuse.
No excuse not to watch that movie.
But I've watched the movie, the Gwyneth Paltrow movie, like a few times, a lot. And I've watched the BBC miniseries, and I love it all. And Emma Approved, because Emma Approved is great. But yeah, I really like this story, and I like that it also is showing someone like really, really learning from their mistakes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Jane Austen heroines do grow and do change, but this is a very like Emma changes a lot in this book. She really does. She grows so much as a character, and it's really fun to see.
Okay, I'll go next. I honestly can't decide if I like this one or Pride and Prejudice more sometimes. Pride and Prejudice is like my all-time favorite, but after reading this one, there was just like something about it that made me love it like almost as much as Pride and Prejudice. I think I agree with Maureen. Like Emma's character goes through so much development, and I love character development. So getting to see her go through all of that is just so much fun. And then I just thought that this one was really funny. So it was like really entertaining to read. Like all of her books are really funny, but this one was just super like up there for me with that. And then again, like Mr. Knightley, he's just so perfect. And I think I do like him more than Mr. Darcy. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And my favorite of the adaptations, because I hadn't seen any of them before this, but I watched the Gwyneth Paltrow one and the BBC miniseries, and Emma approved. I love them all, but I loved the BBC miniseries. Like it was so, so good. And it was so true to the book too. So yeah.
I am also with Hannah. I love the BBC miniseries. Like I've seen it so many times. Like when I was in undergrad, I watched it so many times. Like I would go home and just like bring out the DVDs. There it is. Here's Emma again. So I love the BBC miniseries. I also just like love Mr. Knightley. I definitely like Mr. Knightley more than I like Mr. Darcy because like he's just so patient and he's just so like nice and oh, I just can't. Mr. Darcy is kind of a jerk. So I mean, whatever.
Look at Natasha's face.
I like jerky men.
Oh, no.
I like patient men. So I love Mr. Knightley. I think he's so cute and he's so sweet and he's so patient. So yeah, I like that. And I also think Emma, like she's 21. She's kind of just like figuring stuff out. So you see that through the book. So I don't dislike her, but I like the way that her character was developed. So
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, this is my second favorite. Obviously, like Hannah, it's right under Pride and Prejudice, which is all-time favorite book. But like everybody said, except Natasha, I like Mr. Knightley more than Mr. Darcy. I don't know why, but this time I liked him more. I read it before in high school because I had to do a paper on it, and I was like, no one can be better than Mr. Darcy. Like I don't even care about Mr. Knightley, but this time I don't know what it was, but it just clicked. I'm like, this is the man I want. And when he says like, if I loved you any less, I could talk about it more. Like I burst out in sobs. I was like, that is the sweetest thing I have ever read in my entire life. But yeah, we watched this month or last month, we watched Emma Proof, we watched Clueless, we watched the BBC miniseries and the Gwyneth Paltrow version. We had a movie night every single week, and it was kind of intense, but it was so much fun. And yeah, I'd never seen the BBC miniseries before then, but I love it so much. I grew up with the Gwyneth Paltrow one, but again, like what you guys said, I'm just repeating whatever all of you guys said, but it includes almost everything from the book, and I love the actress who plays Emma. I don't know her name. I haven't seen her in anything else, but she played it like very modernly, like she was like a modern girl just like in period dress, and she was so funny and sarcastic, but also like being 20 years old and reading about someone who was 21 during that time, I could really see how she was trying to act like she was more mature than she was because she had been mistress of the house for almost all of her teen years, and she's like, oh yes, I am basically like a grown woman, like I know everything, but she doesn't know everything, and because her dad like wouldn't let her out of her town, she hasn't really seen much of the world. And I love how competitive she was with Jane Fairfax, who like wasn't even there for like most of the book. She's like, oh, Jane Fairfax reads? Well, I'm gonna read more, and then she reads one page, and she's like, I don't care about that. So it was so much fun. It was so funny, and I don't know why. It's not my favorite. Like it's almost my favorite, but Pride and Prejudice just has that little magic, so it can't be my favorite.
I just want to say that I am like hardcore trash for like best friends to lovers trope. Like anything that has that in it, I'm like, yes, give it to me. Everything else can be terrible, but if it has that, I'm like, yes, thank you. So that's probably why Emma is like really far up there for me, because I love that trope so much. So much.
Well, that explains because I love the trope where guys are mean to girls first. But I really liked Mr. Knightley. I like that he was old. How old was he? He was like 30.
He was 36, I think.
30, yeah.
So much older. But no, I really liked Mr. Knightley. I just like the more suave and mysteriousness of Mr. Darcy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like,
oh, sorry.
No, I don't want to say that. Go on.
Okay. I feel like she writes about every single man in her books. Like so far, like all the main characters and all of the romantic partners all have been very different from one another. Like she doesn't do the same trope over and over. So we had like the mysterious Mr. Darcy and like the childhood best friend and like kind of mentor in Mr. Knightley, and then like first love with Mr. Tilney. And then Persuasion was like, oh, we reconnected again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Mansfield Park, so I don't know what that's going to be like, but.
How are they cousins? They're cousins.
They're cousins?
I think so.
Wait, Knightley and Emma?
Knightley and Emma?
No, Mansfield.
Mansfield Park, yeah.
Oh, I was like, I don't think Knightley and Emma are cousins.
No, they're not related at all.
They're brother and sister-in-law, kind of.
Yeah, but that's not related.
That's fine.
The first time I read it, I was so confused that they were brother and sister-in-law because like the whole time she's like, oh, he's my brother. Like, oh, we're going to see my dad. And then I'm like, their siblings are married. I'm so confused. But I figured it out slowly.
Wow.
Like some of what you're saying, Joey, I like that. Oh, sorry.
Nope. Go ahead.
I like that even though like a lot of Jane Austen's books are like really similar, and like that's a critique a lot of people have, that it's like always like the same storyline. You're right in the sense that like her like characters are always so different that it makes the story really different every time. And I think that was what I really liked about this one. I could just like connect to the characters a lot more, and so that made it a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, I think the root of all stories is the characters, because that's who we connect with. If it's just, a bunch of exposition and like world building, then that's not like a book that most people enjoy. So Jane has the heart of the book is within the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have questions?
Oh yeah, there's no questions on the chat. Everyone's talking about Throne of Glass and one.
Yes.
So hey, on the chat.
So relevant.
If you have any Austen questions, people in the chat, let us know.
In the comments, can you see the comments on the video page?
That's what I'm reading.
Oh.
Yeah. But if you have any questions, you can tweet any of us on Twitter. Yeah. So what?
Yeah.
What about my question that I read earlier? Do you think Emma is a feminist book?
Oh, okay. Well, I had a kind of a comment on that. I do feel like she's very modern, but also you can really tell that she's super entitled because she's like, I don't want to be married, but also like I'm like if I weren't rich, then I would be someone to pity. But I'm like an amazing person because I'm rich and beautiful, and also like I don't need a man. So it was kind of like, yay, I like you, Emma, for like being like I don't need a man, but also, but like that was the whole thing. Jane Austen, I read that she was like, I'm going to write a main character who no one's going to like but me. But I actually liked Emma from the beginning. I don't know why. She has like some spunk to her, and she's. I don't know why. Like even when she was terrible, there was just something about her. So she just got better throughout the book with me. But do you guys think she was a feminist character?
I don't know. It's interesting because like she does say like I don't need a man, or like I'm just gonna do what I want, and then she tries like reading and drawing or whatever else that she tried. So like it kind of just like develops her as like a character in terms of like her interests, but like ultimately she ends up with a dude. So it's like, is it constructed as a feminist novel? Like I don't know, because of like the cultural relativism. We have to consider like what time it was written in too, because we're looking at it from like a future time point. So it's, I don't know. I don't know if I would call it a feminist novel. There are definitely things that she says that could be considered like more modern, but I don't know if I would label it like a feminist novel, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree with you, Joce, in the sense that like it's definitely somewhat like out there for its time, as like all of her work is, but I agree in the sense that like she starts out more that way, but like the fact that she like changes she changes so much to kind of fit to that mold of like being in a relationship and like being with a man doesn't necessarily make it like modern day feminism. But yeah, I can see how it can be interpreted that way, especially her character can be interpreted that way.
I think it's interesting, like the class. Sorry, Maureen, but the
I just said same. That's all.
She just agreed. She just said, yeah.
Just same.
I think it's interesting, like the class system, how it's okay for Emma to be single and like for anyone, you know, not to say anything about that, like how she's a spinster, and like for someone who is in a lower class system, that could just be perceived as like the worst thing ever if you're single because you don't have a man to take care of you.
Like Miss Bates. Yeah, she was like, I don't want to be Miss Bates.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Knightley was like, hold up. Like, there you go.
I loved how Mr. Knightley just like put her in her place. Like that's one of the things I like when, I don't know, they're not just like, because everyone else is trying to please Emma and trying to like get on her good side, but now Mr. Knightley.
Really blunt with her.
I think like,
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Who's talking?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I just love, because I don't, like, you honestly don't see a ton of that in novels even now, where you have someone who is willing to call someone on their crap all the time. Like, especially who ends up being a romantic partner. There's a lot of, like, like, there will be, like, some kind of problem in, like, I'm thinking, like, contemporary books, like, YA contemporary books. Like, there will be a problem that they have to work through, but it's never, like, someone doing something wrong, and then whoever the romantic interest person is like, nah, you're wrong, you need to fix that. Like, whenever she's awful to Mrs. Bates, he's like, no, like, obviously we've got badly done, Emma, and he's like, no, like, that was wrong, you need to check yourself. And I loved seeing that he just, like, wasn't, I mean, like, they had very good banter, and they were both, like, back and forth all the time, but I love that he wasn't afraid to call her out on stuff that she did, like, things that she orchestrated from, like, the beginning. He's like, no, I don't think that you're right. And, yeah, he's just great. I love him.
That was, like, my favorite part of, like, the whole book, is when he was like, hold up, ma'am. I was like, that's it.
They're really honest with each other, and they have like a really, really honest relationship. And I think that's what I admire about them most. And I think that's what makes their banter so much better too. That like it's just coming from a place of like truly caring about one another. It's just so great.
Well, it shows the difference between her and Mr. Knightley and her and, what was his name, Mr. Churchill, was that?
Right,
yeah, because they had the banter, but he was like just a liar, and he was just like, oh yeah, let's just be terrible to Jane Fairfax, be like, oh, she's so ugly and not as cool as you, Emma. But
I'm just picturing him saying that.
Did you guys see that? You guys have seen the Gwyneth Paltrow version, right? He looks like the Mad Hatter. Yeah, he has like red hair and like the little top hat. Every time I think of it now, like I can only think of him.
I really like Frank Churchill in the Gwyneth Paltrow version because it was how do I say his name? Ewan McGregor. I don't know. I really like the actor. But yeah, he did look like the Mad Hatter.
Someone asked if Emma was a slow-paced book, and I feel like all of her books are kind of slower paced, just because they like build up a lot, and they are set like, I don't know. It's just
they're very low. Sorry. They're very character driven. They're not plot driven. They're character driven. So people who don't like character driven books and more like plot driven books, they're going to be slow because that's just the type of books they are.
Yeah, there aren't like dragons and like killing people in.
Yeah.
There's not like any like exciting twists or turns. It's just a lot of like family history and class systems and
relationship drama.
That makes it sound so boring though, but like it's so good. It's like there is some. It's not just them talking about like, oh, this is Emma. She went to the store, but it's more like, yeah, it starts off very like getting to know the characters, but then stuff does happen.
Yeah.
But it's just slower pace, and that's why I recommend listening to the audiobooks. You need like a good narrator though, because there are some like weird.
There's some really bad narrators for audiobooks. I would stay away from those. I only know because I tried it on an audiobook and I was like.
I think of all of her books that we've read so far, though, this is probably the most fast-paced one, at least in my opinion. Like, it's definitely more fast-paced than Pride and Prejudice, and especially more than Persuasion.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely way more character-driven.
I like the mysteriousness about Frank Churchill and Jane Fairfax, and like finally meeting them and like figuring out like what's the secret behind you two. And yeah, did you guys picture Jane Fairfax as she was portrayed in the movie with Gwyneth Paltrow? She's very like, I feel like she was a lot older in the movie.
She's older in the movie? I thought they were the same. I don't really remember. I'm mostly, I don't know. What did you mean? I'm confused by your question.
I feel like isn't Jane Fairfax like the same age as?
Yeah. I think they're all around the same age, or maybe Frank Churchill's a little bit older. But I think because she like doesn't she remember them leaving?
I think she remembers.
Or I don't.
That's what I know from the BBC miniseries.
Yeah, like her like looking up in the distance. Like, goodbye, Frank Churchill.
This is a real side note, but I just love how the BBC drama opens with like talking about the three of them and how their circumstances all like determined how they like what happens later in life. I love like that whole opening sequence because it's not something that's in the book. It's just like stuff you find out later, but I love that sequence so much.
Mm-hmm.
Melanie says Frank is 23, so he's like 2 years older, so they're all around the same age.
Okay.
Did you guys like Frank and Jane's relationship? Talk about it. I have opinions, but I want to hear all of you.
I didn't because I don't like Frank Churchill, and it makes me really sad for Jane. I feel like he just like puts her down so often, and she has to just sit through all of it and just suffer through all of that, and it makes me feel so sad for her. Like, I know she loves him, but like I just feel so bad that she has to like suffer through him degrading her so much with Emma, and like just all of that is just like so sad to me.
Wait, Natasha, do you like him because he's a jerk?
That's because he's a jerk. I don't like jerks that are like jerks through and through. I like, like coldness up front, but then like you have to like hammer through the coldness, and then there's warmth. Okay. Stop tasing me.
What do you guys think about their relationship?
I also did not like Frank. I feel like if anyone treated me that way, I would be like, I'll pass. You know what I mean? I'd be like, no, there's someone that would actually like be nice to me. But I mean, I don't like jerky, like outwardly jerky people. And it didn't actually seem like there was a lot of evolution of his jerkiness either. Like it was kind of just like, oh, and then he liked her.
Yeah, it was he did a really good like front. He was like the whole time just I hate her, hate her, and then like, oh, we're in love.
Yeah, and I don't know if I was like convinced about the we're in love. I was like, you are? Like, okay, cool.
I mean, I guess we didn't know what they did in private, but
I mean, I also hate Frank because he's a jerk, but it's also like one of those things that you don't know, like because because it's a novel about Emma, you don't really know the behind the scenes of what kind of arrangement Frank and Jane had, that he was like, listen, I'm going to be real mean to you and make fun of you because I'm trying to divert attention so that nobody knows. But, it doesn't excuse it, but you don't know if, like, they had some sort of agreement. He did send her that piano. Piano's a pretty nice present.
Or the laptop. Never approved. FYI. I don't know why I said that.
It was a what?
The laptop. And Emma approved. Have you seen Emma approved?
I didn't watch Emma approved.
I would take either or both.
I watched the Jane Austen version one. Finally.
The what?
Oh, you did? The
Sorry,
Pride and
Pride and Prejudice. Sorry.
Oh,
Jane.
the Jane Austen.
I was like the Jane Austen Emma.
She was Lizzie Benedict.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Sorry.
freaking love Brent Bailey, and I feel like I picture him as Knightley now because I just love him so much. And after meeting like that cast, they're just so nice. They're the nicest
Perfect.
people ever. Brent talked to me for like 15 minutes about cameras and like camera equipment. And I was like, you are so nice.
Aw.
But like I picture their relationship now, which is probably bad. But I love like their chemistry in Emma Approved. But anyway, back to Frank Churchill, who's the worst.
Oh yeah. I was like, tell me more.
Like I mean, I wouldn't put him as bad as Mr. Wickham. I wouldn't put him at that level.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Wickham's pretty much like scum of the earth
Mhm.
kind of a thing. But it's kind of like I feel like that whole situation is so complicated. I don't really I don't like their relationship, but it's a very complicated and weird situation because of how secretive they had to be about stuff.
I didn't like that he wasn't held accountable for his actions, and then like finally when they announced that they're getting married, everyone's like, "Yeah, you're getting married. It doesn't matter anymore what you did in the past. Like it's fine."
Yeah.
It's like it was all in the name for love, like whatever. But why did they keep it secret? Like
Because of
It was because Jane was like an orphan or something, or like.
Well,
was it not until like the lady died, or
yeah,
I don't know.
his
Yeah.
because she was super strict over like everything that he did. So I think he knew like I don't know if that's ever like stated that she just didn't approve of it. So like once she I wasn't sure, but like once she died, they were like free to roam.
Less party.
Let's talk about Harriet because I I related so much to her.
Poor Harriet. Poor thing.
What do you guys think of her?
I just felt so bad for her. I was like, oh. Every time I was like, oh no. And then I was like, oh no again.
Oh, wait, I have a question. Like, did you guys think that she actually was that naive, or do you think she was just like going along with what Emma was saying because she wanted to be her friend? Like,
I think maybe a little of both.
Yeah.
Both. I would say both.
I mean, she was like thrown into this like glamorous lifestyle, and then she was like, given all these things, and let's get married, and let's look at men, and she has like this fabulous friend now, who like I don't know. Now I'm thinking about Clueless.
Emma approved, so it's all good.
I mean, like I was definitely like in that boat, like poor Harriet. But then sometimes I was like, girl, she just doesn't know. But then you're like, okay, come on. Like whenever she has that box of like Elton keepsakes. Oh, it's like I kept this courtship note. I was like, girl, please don't say that out loud. That's like things you don't ever say. And you just
Well, I mean, I think I've done that in the past. That's why I related to her. She's just like, she's so innocent yet like so pathetic. It's a little bit funny, but also like I feel bad for her because like I've been in her situation before. So she's like always second best. She's never the bride, always the bridesmaid.
Yeah.
Except at the very end.
Yeah. And then her and B-Mart got together. I love it. By the way, Natasha, watch Emma Approved because then you'll love B-Mart even more. Right. I'm sorry, Mr. Martin. The farmer.
I will. Because I definitely did not like his version of the character in Clueless.
No. He's like cute and he has really good arms. In case you wanted to know.
Thank you. I will definitely watch it because of his arms.
Keep a lookout. What do you guys think about Harriet, Hannah?
I agree with everybody else. I just felt really, really bad for her. And she felt like that one like friend in the group who just really wants to fit in with everybody else, but like has a really hard time fitting in and just has to go along with what everyone else is doing. And then like she gets abused because of it. And it's really sad. But yeah, I do agree that I think she like went along with some of it intentionally. I think like especially towards the end when it came to like the whole Mr. Knightley thing. At that point, she was kind of like confident enough to say what she like actually wanted.
Yeah.
So you could definitely tell that there was a possibility that she was just going along with some of this. And if so, I think that makes her character even more interesting. But I really did like her, though. She was really, really cute, but I did feel bad for her.
I thought it would have been really interesting if we had like seen everything from her perspective, because I feel like she's kind of like that girl that shows up to the Halloween party and everyone's dressed as like sexy cats and she shows up in like a hamburger costume and she's like, "Hey guys, happy Halloween." Like I feel like that's Harriet, and I feel like it'd be really interesting and totally different if it was told from her point of view instead of Emma's point of view. But I think she's kind of like cute, but I'm also like cringy at the same time, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
She's like Katie Heron at the beginning of Mean Girls before anything happened.
Yeah.
But it was good to see how she like Emma did have a good effect on her. She also made her a little bit like a little bad in some ways, but mostly like she made her like more mature and more like aware of what she wanted, because I do agree with Emma when she said it was so easy for her to dissuade Harriet from marrying Mr. Martin. Like she just put like a tiny seed of doubt and she's like, "Oh yeah, I don't want to marry Mr. Martin." But then like eventually she like learned what she wanted and she wanted him. But I don't know.
Well,
Sorry.
oh, sorry.
You go.
Okay, the thing with Harriet that I actually really liked with Harriet and Emma's relationship was like at the beginning when she was talking about how she was talking to Mr. Knightley and she's like, there's no reason for her not to be able to like marry above her like her class or whatever like that. And I liked that aspect of it. I liked how like that was something that she was trying to teach Harriet. Like there's no reason for you to just like marry below you. Like you should be able to move up in the world if you want to. And I like that about their relationship a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying, I was thinking back to that scene with Harriet and Emma whenever I'm just thinking of like the BBC miniseries version where she's like telling her about the proposal letter and she's like, "What should I do?" And Emma's like, "Well, I can't tell you what to do." And then she's like, "So I should refuse him?" And then as soon as she says that, Emma's like, "Yeah, let's like talk about it." But she's like hinting so hard, and like Harriet's just like trying to feel her out, like, what are you trying to say? That whole scene is so funny.
And like I love it because she's like, "I'm not gonna tell you what to do," but then like she's so manipulative, and then right when Harriet's like, "I'm not gonna marry him," she's like, "Good, that's what I wanted the whole time, but I just want to let you know that I didn't want you married." I'm like, it was so obvious. She's like, "Are you sure about that?" But
I can't remember if it was in the movie or the BBC version. I think it was the BBC version when like they're all at dinner and Harry keeps looking over at Emma and like she's like holding her spoon wrong or she's like tucking her napkin in the top of her dress. She's like, I like that part. Teaching her the manners. I was like, why would she have known those manners if she went to that like all girls school? So
I think it was like a little bit more low class, I guess. I don't know. Good. I don't know. But I thought it was interesting that they all like Emma assumed that she was from like a very wealthy family. Like I don't like there was no indication that she was like wealthy, but she's like, yes, her father must be like some lord or something, and she must be swimming in cash. And then Mr. Knightley's like,
That was it.
she goes to that school that's not like it's not that great, but then the moment that she realized like who Harriet actually was from, she's like, "Oh yeah, you and B-Mart, like you can live happily ever after."
Perfect.
Like, the whole time she's like, you can like think like above your station or whatever, but then she's like, "Oh, you're poor. You should probably like think down a little bit, like reach for the stars, but not that high." Oh, here's one. What was your favorite characteristic of Emma, and what was your least favorite of her attributes?
I think my favorite, I don't know if this is like a characteristic of her or like a characteristic of like the construction of the book, is that she like changed so much, but like we just had to kind of like, not she didn't change like so much, but you know what I mean? Like we had to give her time to change. And I feel like this is kind of like I think it's a longer Jane Austen book. Mm-hmm. So like you got to see a lot more, not a lot more, but like more of that change of Emma. So that was my favorite thing that she my favorite characteristic of her. I think my least favorite characteristic was that she was so, like, manipulative. I was like, girl, stop. Like, come on. Like, leave Harriet alone, please. She's so cute. Just leave her alone. But, yeah.
I think my favorite characteristic of Emma was how caring she was about her family and her father, and how she didn't want to leave him. And I don't know, I thought that was very heartwarming. And my least favorite, probably that she was like a little bit of a hypocrite, because she didn't want Harriet to marry Mr. Martin. Is that his name?
Mhm.
Yeah, but yet she was very fond of Harriet herself, who were basically in the same class. So, yeah.
I'll go. I think my favorite characteristic of her is how like headstrong she is, and like how independent. Like she literally just goes after whatever she wants, and she doesn't let anyone get in her way. And I really like that about her. And then I think I agree with Joce. I don't like how manipulative she is. I think it's just like, and that also like bleeds into like her being hypocritical too. She's just really controlling of people, and she doesn't like it when she can't get her way. And yeah, so I don't like that about her. But
Maureen?
Oh, okay. I feel like mine are like super opposites, because it's like beginning of the novel Emma and end of the novel Emma. I like how end of the novel Emma was willing to like hear what people had to say and change. Like even like more towards the middle, she like realizes how bad she is at matchmaking, and she's like, Knightley was right, I need to stop. Even though she like still kind of like goes back to it a couple times, she's like, no, I need to stop, I need to be better. But also at the beginning of the novel, where she's like, I'm the best ever, and I am not willing to change anything ever. It's like both opposites, but it shows her character growth, because she does one thing at the beginning of the novel, which is what makes me like so mad. I'm like, please just like let people live their lives. But then she grows and is willing to change and willing to become better and willing to like be a different person and like just grow as a person and hear criticism and take it. Like she gets real defensive of the criticism, but she like hears it and like takes it to heart still.
Yeah, you guys basically said everything I was going to talk about. She's just such a great example of like not an evil Slytherin. You know what I'm talking about? Like, not like Natasha. But like she is very manipulative, but also she's very like ambitious, and like this is like the only thing, like she has to have something to like occupy her mind. And since she's basically left alone in like a giant house and her father like won't go outside, she has to find ways to. And Miss Taylor, Miss Weston, yeah, like she ditched her too, so she's just like left alone, so she has to find things to occupy her mind. And yeah, I like how the character growth is insane. And I like, again, like I said, I like both versions of Emma. I like her at the beginning and I like her at the end. Obviously, at the beginning, she's super flawed, but she is just so, yeah, headstrong. Like, she's a very strong character, especially during that time. She just has a lot of say in how her life is going to go. And it's her decision to get married. And you know, it's just, I like her. What?
Can we, now that we've read Emma, can we continue rating the annoying characters on a scale of who's the most annoying to least annoying, including Mrs. Bates?
Oh, Mrs. Bates. Poor Mrs. Bates. She got it from Emma already. Now she's going to get it from us.
Well, before the scene where like Emma just totally hurt her feelings, that's like when I finally felt for her, because I was like, oh my gosh, this woman needs to be quiet. I was annoyed with her as much as Emma was, but until that scene, and actually when I saw it during the Gwyneth Paltrow movie, I was like, oh, it was worse watching it than reading it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But most annoying character?
Most annoying? Is it Miss Bates?
I mean,
No. Of all the Jane Austen novels.
Oh, all of them.
That we've read so far.
Huh.
I mean, Mr. Collins is pretty far up there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely mine.
No.
Amazing.
Mrs. Bennet. I always think she's the most annoying.
But she has a kind heart, just like Bates. Like Mr. Collins is like, what?
They all have redeeming qualities, but they are a little bit too
Does Mr. Collins have one? I think no.
Where is his redeeming quality?
He doesn't have one. If he talks about potatoes all the time, I'll take it because those are great food.
Catherine to bed.
He talks about potatoes. That's his redeeming quality. He talks about a great food.
Fondness for potatoes.
I hope no one ever tells me that that's a redeeming quality that I have. That's your redeeming quality. That's it. That's all you got.
Stone liked potatoes.
Wait, who was the annoying character in Northanger Abbey? Was it Isabel?
Yeah, that's who I was thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Because what's his face? The colonel? The dad. He was not annoying. He was just
Rude.
Wait, and her brother.
Oh.
He wasn't as annoying as Isabel, though. Isabel was like more obnoxious because she was just like. Like
the brother. What's his name? The brother guy.
John.
Yes. He like kidnapped her, and he's like, "Oh, you're already in the carriage. Sorry, I'm not gonna stop for you."
Sorry, I thought you meant her brother. You meant Isabella's brother. No, Isabella's brother was super obnoxious.
Oh, and then Mary from Persuasion. She was irritating.
Oh, yeah.
She was irritating, but not as bad as Isabella or the brother.
Yeah, they're at the bottom because they're both annoying and awful. So
That's
Yeah, I feel like when you compare Mrs. Bates to like these people, like she's annoying, but she's harmless annoying. These people are like really terrible and annoying. So it's like, wow, you're the worst. You're really, really the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, Isabel and John probably are the worst characters. Well, no, the worst character is what's his name from Pride and Prejudice?
Wickham.
Oh.
He wasn't annoying though.
No, he's not annoying.
No,
He's just like,
no.
meh.
If we're talking about terrible, then yeah, he's all the way there.
He's all the way over there.
But John's annoying. He was like, "Oh, my carriage, like, oh no," he's like, "Your brother's carriage is gonna fall apart. Oh, maybe we should save them. Oh, just kidding. It's very sturdy. It's gonna be fine. Just stay with me, Catherine. Don't leave." So, what about least annoying though? I think Mr. Knightley is at the top.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Knightley's not annoying.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I just said he's not annoying. Don't call him annoying.
No, he's at the top of not annoying.
Oh, I
He's
know. I'm just saying. Don't
okay.
at me.
And Mrs. Weston.
Mm-hmm. She was good too. She knew what was going on the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Mr. Knightley's brother was kind of annoying.
I can't stand him.
Yeah. Agreed.
He
So
should have
different.
but I mean, he kind of had to because it was.
I'm just like thinking of characters from Sense and Sensibility that are annoying. We haven't gotten there yet, so I can't say anything.
2 months or next month.
Oh, wow.
Isn't next month Mansfield Park?
No, that's this month.
December.
Oh, right. It's December. We went over that. It's December.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
What was I going to say? Oh, so there's a good question. Music, Books, TV said, do you think that Emma's father was a little selfish or by holding Emma back, like he wouldn't take her to London and Emma was withering away in their town? I think he really thought that he was like protecting Emma because he didn't want her to die because he thought that like the sea air would like make her like shrivel up. I don't know. But definitely he was very limiting, and he's probably the reason why she was so awful at the beginning because he like condoned all of her behavior and was like, oh yes, Emma's the best, like she can do no harm, so she just got away with it. But yeah, I really wish that she would have been able to get out of their town because I think she would have been better. But then, you know, the ending. It's all good in the end. But yeah.
But they're still living with the dad, which is she never really got out.
Yeah, but at least she has a reason to like leave town sometimes. I don't know.
That's true.
I feel like I mean, anybody who doesn't want people to eat cake he's a Debbie Downer.
The doctor was like, yeah, let them.
I was personally offended that he was like not letting people eat the cake. Excuse you, Mr. Woodhouse.
Oh, Maureen, that was great.
But I mean, I think it's just the cake. He's a crotchety old man, and he hasn't had anyone to teach him not to be a crotchety old man. So he just is living his life as that. So I mean, I don't think like Zoe said, he was trying to really like protect her, but he also just like he was also kind of the worst and was kind of annoying. Like he's not as annoying as Miss Spades, but he was kind of annoying. Like
in the BBC miniseries, wasn't he Dumbledore?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dumbledore. You know.
Come on, Dumbledore.
We forgot to talk about other annoying characters, Mr. and Mrs. Elton.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
The terrible people.
I really liked how like Mrs. Elton was basically Emma, but like the evil twin of Emma. Like she had no good intentions.
I think Emma got to see like what she would become in Mrs. Elton, and she was like, okay, I really need to stop now. So yeah, oh my god, I can't stand Mrs. Elton. She's just like, especially I love her. What?
She's just like a pot stirrer. Like she was just
Yeah.
like,
I love the actress who played her in the BBC miniseries. I thought she was perfect. And it was just, oh my god, she was just insufferable, but it was like in the best way. And then Mr. Elton, of course, is like also terrible. But yeah, no, oh my god, yeah. I think that was like the turning point for Emma though. She like saw Mrs. Elton and she was like, okay, I cannot be like this anymore.
Agreed.
Oh, you didn't know, Natasha, because you haven't seen Emma, but I will let you know that the actress who plays Caroline Bingley, like it's the same character. Like they bring Caroline Bingley to play Mrs. Elton, which I think is perfect because Mrs. Elton is basically Caroline Bingley. Like she's just like super ambitious and just likes to stir the pot, like you said, Joce. But yeah.
I feel like Mrs. Elton would be like a Southern lady who's just always trying to like matchmake people and is like the worst kind of Southern lady though. That's always like bless her heart and then just like gossips hardcore about everybody all the time.
Yeah.
And is like always putting people down like that. Like there's like the good kind of Southern lady and the bad kind, and she'd be like the worst kind. She wouldn't even make good
like,
TV.
she's so ugly. Bless her heart. She can live with being that ugly.
Hey, do you guys, I've noticed this a lot while reading, but one of my, I guess my like pet peeves now about Jane Austen's books is her usage and how many times she uses the word intercourse. Oh my gosh.
Things that mean different things later in life.
Oh no. Well, there's another word that she uses that bothers me. I can't think of it now, but the intercourse is the main that I've just noticed. She uses it all the time.
Have you guys seen Austenland? Because
Yes.
it has that in there. Because she's like, oh, intercourse. I love intercourse. I just read like that. Sorry about that. Let's get
Or the when the man always, what's his name from Pride and Prejudice, the annoying one we just talked about.
Collins.
Mr. Collins?
Collins, sorry, Mr. Collins, when he's preaching in the movie, he's like intercourse or the intercourse.
Ew.
Oh, okay, so since we've all read the books, which ones have been your favorite? Like, how are you scaling them?
I think I don't know about Pride and Prejudice and Emma. I feel like they're very tied for me. like, I know you guys were like, it's like right below Pride and Prejudice, but Pride and Prejudice isn't my favorite Jane Austen book, so I feel like they're tied for me. Sorry, we haven't gotten there yet. Sense and Sensibility.
Oh, okay. I was like, what else could it be?
So I feel like they're tied. I really personally liked Persuasion a lot. And I feel like Persuasion and Northanger Abbey are also really same for me. I just think Northanger Abbey is so funny because of how, like, since it's what's the word where it's parody? Satire. Like, it's like over the top satire sometimes, and it's really funny. And what else have we read? I feel like is that
That's it.
that's it. Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Just
so it's
the
like
four.
tied and tied.
Mine goes Northanger Abbey, Pride and Prejudice, Emma, and Persuasion.
Really, Northanger Abbey is your favorite? That's so interesting. But like,
It's the most fun for me to read, and Pride and Prejudice, I love it so much because of the movie. But I definitely did not enjoy it when I was reading. I didn't enjoy it as much as if I was watching the movie. The movie makes me love the book.
yeah, I gotcha. What about you, Joce?
I would probably say, see, Pride and Prejudice is just like so like warm and like familiar that it just has that kind of like warm and familiar thing, you know? So I would probably go with Pride because it's so different from like Northanger Abbey where it's just like fun, you know? And like everything is fun. But Pride and Prejudice is just like so familiar to me. So I would say probably Pride and Prejudice first, and then Northanger Abbey and Emma would be about the same because I love Mr. Knightley. And then at the bottom would be Persuasion, but it's not actually really at the bottom because it's just like so different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was really interesting that we did Persuasion and Northanger Abbey in like the same show because they were like, I feel like those are the two that are most different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so for me, Pride and Prejudice would be at the top, and then Emma and Northanger Abbey, and then Persuasion.
For me, it would probably be like Pride and Prejudice and Emma are almost tied, but it's like the familiarity, like you were talking about. It's like the nostalgia. It was the first book that I ever read by Jane Austen. So, and like the movie, I watch that movie probably every month. So those two are like really close. But it's Pride and Prejudice, and then Emma, and then Persuasion for me next because I've also seen like the stage production of it, and it's like so good. And then I read Northanger Abbey like a long time ago, so that one's like at the bottom for me. But yeah, they're just all so good. It's really hard to choose.
A stage adaptation of Persuasion sounds so good.
It's so good. It's so
Wait,
much fun.
What is?
A stage production of Persuasion.
Oh yeah, I've heard a lot of people have been commenting. They're like, "Oh, I'm in like the Emma play this month or whatever." I'm like, I never thought that they would adapt. Like,
Yeah, my friend was in a production of Persuasion, and I went to go watch her in it, and it was so good.
Last month I saw Pride and Prejudice at my like local college with my friend, and it was so interesting, and like the way the stage moved and all the dancing, it was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I've literally seen Pride and Prejudice and like everything I could.
It makes so much sense, but it's so cool. Now I'm gonna have to try and seek one out. But for me, definitely like what Joce and Hannah said, like it's a familiarity of Pride and Prejudice, and it's been my favorite book for so long. Like I can just ditch it, and you know, it's great. But then it's Emma, and then Northanger Abbey, and then Persuasion. But I haven't read Mansfield Park. I hear it's a lot of people's least favorite Austen book.
It's just kind of like okay. You know, like, which makes it my least favorite.
I tried watching is it a BBC miniseries or is it
There's a movie that was on Netflix for a
the
while.
movie? I didn't know if it was a miniseries or a movie. I just watched it because I don't know the actress's name, but Rose. Yeah,
Wait,
just
That is a mini-
Doctor Who.
yeah. I watched it because she was in it, and I got bored. Like 15 minutes in, I was like, this seems really weird. And then I just stopped watching and I never went back.
I fell asleep during that movie.
Oh no.
I never fall asleep during movies.
Yeah, I hear it's like kind of boring, and like the main character is a goody two shoes, like Fanny Price, I think. So that's this month's book. And we'll see how we feel in the next live show. Do you guys have anything else to say?
Yeah, wait, I wanted to ask for those who have seen Clueless, what was your favorite adapted character?
In Clueless?
Yeah. From
So basically not me.
I love Paul Rudd with all my heart. So
Who?
him.
What
Paul
about-
Rudd?
Oh,
Paul
yeah.
Rudd? Yeah, I mean, like, he's Paul Rudd. It has to be him.
Does he play
I thought
Knightley?
it was so interesting how they did Elton.
Yeah.
Oh, also, Frank Churchill. They like made him gay, which like makes so much sense, and it like got rid of Jane because she was kind of boring. But I thought it was so interesting because Cher was flirting up so much, and it's like, he's not available, but in a different way than in the book.
I loved the Harriet character, and I can't remember her. Brittany, what's her name? What? Ty, yeah, Ty. And I also love the dad. He's so funny. Wait, who hasn't seen Clueless?
I haven't.
Ugh, you
Yeah.
just fixed that right away.
So good, Hannah. You have to watch it. It's been a while since I watched it, but I liked Josh, who was Paul Rudd, and I like Ty, who's Brittany Murphy. I liked all of them. Don't make me pick.
Oh, he came to my college last year, and he of course everyone was like talking to him about Clueless, but it was all surprising because it came out like before half the people were born. So he's like, "How old are you guys? Like, your guys are younger than the movie." But he said that it was such like a small production, like they didn't think it would take off as big as it did. But now look at it today. We're talking about
Red?
What?
Paul Rudd came to your school?
Yeah, he did. I saw
Ant-Man came to your school?
He did because the Jewish kids asked him.
Oh.
It was for the Jewish like they had like a thing like, you know what I'm talking about.
It's so weird. He's had such a long career.
I know, and I was like, you're right there. Hello. But yeah. So you guys have anything else to say?
And also Alicia Silverstone. I think she's great, Emma.
Mm-hmm.
Or Cher.
Sure.
Yeah. So that was the Emma live show. Thank you, all of you guys, for joining me today. It was so much fun. I love talking about this book. And thank you, everybody who's watching right now in the comment section. I love all you guys. Like we said a billion times, this month's book, December's book, is Mansfield Park. We have a movie night tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to watch Becoming Jane with Anne Hathaway. And then,
I really like that movie.
are you guys available to watch it with me? But in 2 weeks, we're watching the movie adaptation of Mansfield Park. So if you're available any of the days, come join me. Follow me on Twitter because that's where I talk about it. And yeah, also, what's the day of our live show next month for Mansfield Park?
Is it
January 12th?
13th or
13th.
12th? I think it was 13th or 14th.
13th or 14th, I think.
It's the second Friday, I think. That one. It's either the 13th or the 14th.
Yeah.
13th. That's what Friday.
Fridays, so.
Oh, so Friday the 13th. We will see you next. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. Yeah. Cross your fingers. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all soon in my next video. Follow everybody on Twitter and Instagram, and obviously on YouTube because they're all great and fabulous. And I will, again, I've said goodbye a billion times. Goodbye.